Hi, everybody. It's day 3 of the 9 candles, and I have Andre Carr from Astrology Alert,
Hi,
which
everyone.
I can't imagine you haven't ever seen Andre before, but if you haven't, make a point of going over and see him. He's got a wonderful perspective on astrology and how to work with rhythm and time and all that stuff. And he also discusses that subject I don't politics. So, if you want to talk politics, go over and visit Andre. And we're here for the 9 candles, and Andre's come to help us celebrate this. So I'm going to cut to the tray. And as y'all know, this is the 9 candles, and these are the stones in the middle. And for this round of 9 candles, I picked citrine, which is for abundance, bounty, and it's also a stone that's aligned with Lionsgate. I have my little tiger eye that has every color of stone that you can find in that kind of agate. It's a beautiful little stone. And I have my octahedron fluorite, which means 8-sided, and it's to the east, to the west, to the north, to the south, above and below is all encapsulated in that little crystal. So now I'm going to read the meditation while I light the candles. We're going to see how successful I am at this. Together we meet to light the 9 candles in the season of the Lion's Gate. And that is when the Earth is aligned between Sirius and Orion. And it is a time of great energetic exchange with the universe. This portal date gives us boost people's aspirations as on an individual level and in the collective. We have learned how to accept our own energetic vibrations. We are becoming more aware of the energies arriving from the universe to support the changes in Gaia and on ourselves. We acknowledge that these many colored candles symbolize the expansion of energy from our own lives and through the balance to the universal shifts. We ride the waves that surround us to a better future. It's the energetic ones and the ones that we have around us. So I'm going to come back to Andre now. Trust me, the candles are sitting over here burning nicely. We're talking a lot about waves and repeating disturbance or movement that carry energy through space and matter. That's the scientific definition of a wave. But to me, a wave is something. I know you said you can just look at an ephemeris and you can see all the patterns, okay? I don't have that skill, but apparently that's how the skill waves through you. So
Yeah, right. Everybody gets their wave.
everybody has their own place on the wave.
It's true.
So what's going on around you during the season of Lionsgate?
You mean right now?
Yeah, well, whatever. Between
Well,
now and the fall and into winter, because that's when we're going to be
I
feeling.
mean, I feel, in a sense, I would say I'm pretty inspired, but I can use more inspiration, and more aspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So then this is would be really good, and
Oh, good.
yeah, for all kinds of reasons, astrological or otherwise. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a welcome ceremony and a welcome focus.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yes.
And what we ask people to do is to kind of put intentions behind this and sort of say, I'm kind of here. This is, I know that running volunteers, I always found everybody got hyped up in the fall. Let's get going. I always thought January 1 was a bad day to start the new year. Everybody really starts their new year the same way we all did, by learning to go to school in the fall.
True enough. True. That's true. Probably maybe spring and fall, the equinoxes are more connected to those starts than the winter and summer solstice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, could be true. Yes.
So you and I were talking a little bit earlier about the world feeling a little like a pressure cooker, and actually it's going to continue for the next couple years. And I found Lionsgate's a time when a lot of our energy flows through, and all of a sudden we really feel we're in a different trajectory. Is that totally just inside me, or is that inside the planets too?
No, it's this year because of because of the Venus cycle. It's there. It's
Mhm.
definitely it really overamps this particular period. It may not be exactly the same every year, but this year I would say definitely. It's the July, August, September period
Mhm.
is very energized for sure. And I'm definitely feeling it.
Good.
There's no question. Yes. So I look forward to the effect. If if you channel Sirius, Sirius is a big star and has a lot of power. So if on that alone, there's a lot of energy there.
What is Sirius as a myth? Does it have a myth how it got there?
It's like I believe there's a connection to it being a silver Argentinium star. Astrum. It's a something about it being very bright though, and being considered auspicious. In fact, the U.S. is born under Sirius. It's
Mhm.
July 4th is the place in the zodiac where Sirius is. Although you start to get precession as time passes, but still, the U.S. is a serious country, not serious as in the opposite of fun, serious as in
The S the S
yeah, exactly.
I I
Sirius, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
serious, and indeed, people that have those degrees, Sun or
Mhm.
other planets, tend to have at least notoriety and hopefully it's fame. But it's a very powerful star, and it's considerably bigger than the Sun. I'm not sure what the amount is, but it's at least more than twice, 2 or 3 times. It's much
Mhm.
bigger than the Sun. Yeah. So
Thank goodness it's out there because if it was sun was 3 times bigger, we wouldn't be here.
that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, those ratios are super important. Yeah, it's totally true.
Mhm.
People don't realize how fine a balance it is. Like even the seasons are just the Earth's tilt as it's moving,
Mhm.
and you're getting now a lot of climate warming, and it's because of the atmosphere of the Earth has been altered. But if there were the case that for whatever reason the tilt increased even a little bit more, you could get an ice age or you could get tremendous overheating just from the Earth being tilted more
Pushed
toward the
around.
sun or away from the sun. Yeah, so it's the amounts are tiny, but in the cosmic sphere, things look like they're stable for now, type thing.
Mhm.
But they may not be for if you visit in 10,000 years, who would know? It could
Well,
be completely different, which we won't be. So,
no, we don't have to worry about that.
yeah.
They the two black holes that were meeting on the
Mhm.
edge of the universe, which is one of the things that's creating this sense of a wave coming over. It's called the Big Hum. They found it
Mhm.
in 2015
Mhm.
on a bunch of radio telescopes, and so they had to actually create a whole new instruments and everything. They just finished right around the 4th of July. They published a big article about it, and they're saying that the energy from it, what they're interested in, is they think it's pushing us and all the other planets. So now they're trying to study if the energetic in this wave has enough to cause that kind of disturbance.
Well, I still hope they're as far away as possible because black holes by themselves are extremely dangerous, and if they're together, even more so. The gravitational effect is so intense that
Mhm.
if one of them got anywhere near us, we'd be
Oh,
toast.
we'd be toast. Yeah.
Be
Well,
toast. So
they say that there's a black hole at the center of each one of the galaxies.
there is. That's true. Yeah.
So this happens to be two galaxies that ran into each other, and there's some bazillion years from now, I think we're supposed to get eaten up with Andromeda. We're gonna get.
That's true. We won't be around for that either. But yeah, and some part of that is that it isn't like two energies crash into each other.
Mhm.
It's more like they blend. Like the thing
Mhm.
that's most elusive about all this is that there's a lot more space than stars. So even though you
Mhm.
have so many stars, way more stars than people, it's ridiculous
Mhm.
the number. And yet, because of space being so vast, there's lots of space between the stars. So when they
Mhm.
join, you don't start, it's not like a fireworks show. There might be some, but it wouldn't be the main event. The main event is just you get a much bigger galaxy than before, right?
Yeah, most of the stuff around us is plasma, and it's like they're still working out what it is, but it was defined a long time ago that it was there.
Yeah,
I, you know, I start reading some of this stuff, and I really wished I paid more attention in physics.
and
That's,
physics, yeah, I know. Physics, astronomy, yeah, I get a lot of, personally, I get a lot of inspiration from the astronomy because it gets reflected in the inner
Mhm.
experience. If you learn enough about it, there's a sense of having that feeling inside, where the feeling of being contracted, expanded, as some of the planets point to. And yeah, it's a very interesting thing. It's this is the part of science that I really like.
Well, I wanted to be an astronomer as a child, and my father even got me a really good telescope, and we could really go out and see stuff up in the stars. And then I started reading about what you had to do to be an astronomer, and you had to do math. And I
Yeah,
decided I'd rather go into dramatic arts, so I went to theater school.
yeah. The math part is pretty complicated. It's true
That's
because
why I love astrology, and I think it's wonderful. But they start talking about all this squares and oppositions and things. I understand what they mean energetically, but if I have to picture them in my mind, it's too much like geometry, which is not my favorite class.
yeah. Although that kind of math, the math in astronomy is beyond, say, the highest high school math, which gets complicated. By
Hmm.
the end of high school, you're doing algebra, calculus. You got to
Hmm.
get in there and do some pretty intense math. But for astrology, it's not that hard because it's the idea that very simple shapes, and it's more about looking at it a lot, and nearly anyone can figure it out because you're doing arithmetic. You never start doing complicated formulas or
Oh
anything.
no, I'm not looking for universal curves or anything. No.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
But
that's
and
doable.
one of the things I like when I watch you work is you talk pretty plainly about the direction of the curves, I mean, of the lines and how the things relate to each other. And it starts to make real sense. Now, I've studied astrology, so I kind of have a step up, but I, if any of my audience has never seen Andre work, go look at it because he brings it down to terms that we can use. And one of the things I like is you constantly talk about how there are the recurring patterns, like you're talking about Venus, how it makes pentagram around the zodiac.
Hmm. Yeah,
All
no,
those
it's
things.
it's it's totally fascinating because speaking of the numbers, what starts to happen is that as the years pass,
Mm-hmm.
an astrologer has more and more and more meaningful numbers in the zodiac. So then you realize, okay, that those degrees, which there may not even be a planet in your chart, but for a different reason, certain degrees are important to you, and then you see them in people that you meet, and you immediately know what the relationship is. So that really grounds it. It brings it into
Mm-hmm.
to the world. So it's not just some faraway mystical idea. It's actually here. It's in front of you. And the converse can be true. There can be degrees that are more difficult, where you can almost anticipate more friction or
And
more.
that's sort of understanding the waves of information, the waves of
Yeah,
energy, the waves of universal knowledge or what's back there that are what coming over us. And that helps us because one of the things we need to have, I think, in this time of change is we need to have a lot of compassion for the people around us that don't understand it. And then we need to have compassion for ourselves because we've never been here before.
it's true. Yeah.
And, I hope that when we light these candles and we get people thinking about it, they go a little easy on themselves and understand that change is not always a horrible, hideous thing, nor is it always 100% wonderful. It's a little
Right.
bit of each.
Yeah, but it's inevitable. So it's
Mhm.
it's something that it's wired into the you could say the software or the hardware of the universe or both, but it's inevitable. It's just the way it is. And
Mm-hmm.
by realizing that and cooperating with it and flowing with it, uh, your life tends to go better. You know, than if
Right.
you resist. Because if you resist, then all your emotions are all over the map, and you're just yeah, resisting. You know, this is like the Borg. Resistance is futile. Prepare to be assimilated.
Yes, yes, we're getting assimilated. No, that's
Yeah,
AI. That's got nothing to do with this stuff. Have
yeah, no,
you?
but like in a way, doesn't the universe does that to you? There's no escape. You know, the universe is bigger than any of us, so there are forces that they're just bigger, and we're like localities where we exist as little as whirlpools for a period.
Mhm.
But the ocean is the ocean, and the ocean is what we are and what we return to, and it's always the thing that is dominant overall, right? So
That's right.
yeah,
Walking through the plasma, coming through all of the fun energies, and
yeah,
we're
yeah.
being bombarded with photonic energy, the solar energy, you know, and I realize this summer solar energy seems to be working overtime if you're in our hemisphere.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard the solar flares and everything. I haven't. I don't think I've seen yet. I hope affecting my computer or my phone, but maybe that's next. I don't
Well,
know. It's possible.
they, in what was it, in the early 2000s, there'd be maybe two or three solar flares at a time. And this year we've had over 200 big ones.
Yeah.
And they're gonna zap some satellite somewhere. The biggest one is a Harrington. It's called Harrington effect. And it was a solar flare that came up just after telegraph had been put all over the U.S. And it hit the telegraph wires, and the telegraph operator said that the machines were clicking on their own and sparks were coming off of them. And can you imagine? And that was that simple little thing. Can you imagine if something hit us?
No, totally. I mean, the thing about this is that it's again, they're cosmic scales. The sun is
Mhm.
incredibly powerful. If the sun did something really weird, it would be really problematic for us
Put it
here. I mean,
mildly.
really problematic because the
Hmm.
energy that it transmits is phenomenal. So it's one thing solar flares, but you know, scientists have a pretty good idea of what it's doing. But if it was for an unexpected blowout of some kind, it would cause a lot of problems. You know,
Yeah,
because it's big energy.
maybe that ought to be one of our intentions, is that the universe treats us kindly with the energy it can send our direction.
Yeah, yeah, true. And then the other one could be that to express the solar energy, each of us, because the solar energy is at least, if you don't want to say it's the source, it's definitely the gateway to the source, the closest
That's
gateway you
right.
can think of. And it makes sense because we're solar beings in a sense. We're in this part of the universe. It's the sun created
Right.
everything, you know, and we're expressions of that. The heart center and the solar plexus,
Oh
the
yeah,
circle in the body, that's the sun, right?
that's
So
right.
if you can express that, you'll probably be fine.
They tell me that in yoga class.
That's true. Yeah,
And
absolutely true.
well, the other thing to remember at this time is to have gratitude for everything that's going really well, for all the changes that we're having come to us, to be grateful for being able to comprehend, move through, and live with the changes that we have.
It's true. That's a great practice. Great practice because
Hmm.
you're then you're tapping into automatically you're tapping into Jupiter energy. It's the glass half full always. You know, you can
Hmm.
look at things half empty, but what's the use? All it does is pull you down. So
Yeah,
so
look at
doing it the other way. I mean, if a person does just gratitude alone, they can get all the way to the end. Literally, that's all you need to do. You know,
okay.
yeah, that's all you need to do.
Well, speaking of solar flares, I'm going to have to get over here and turn these candles out before they get too rambunctious. That's happened to me before. So, in closing, we are going to blow out these candles, and I will see you, the audience, next tomorrow night at 7 on the premiere on my channel. And it may seem like a simple thing. Why does she go blow the candles out? Because the first time I did it, I didn't show them me blowing the candles out, and people would leave them burning. And then by the second day, they only had 7 candles instead of 9. So.
Right. Disrupts the number. Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And you did.
Right.
You got the sacral chakra candle, but that's okay. That's where great creative ideas come from.
Great. Yeah.
And I want to thank you for coming and helping me with the ceremony today. And I look forward to seeing you again. Look up Andre. I will have in the note descriptions how to reach him. He does readings. He teaches marvelous classes, and he has a really good Patreon program that's well worth looking at. And I look forward to seeing you later, Andre.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure.